old red lights on, so we are now recording. So don't get nervous. Right?
I'm already sweating.
Already sweating a little bit. You got this little sweat on the
Pat down.
Nice. Well, why don't we start with a quick sound check? What'd you have for breakfast this morning?
I fasted this morning for breakfast, so I had some delicious street corn for lunch.
Okay, all right. Now, is this typical? Do you do a lot of fasting, or is it just?
I've been doing an intermittent fast, so not eating until about 1 in the afternoon. The problem with the intermittent fast is, on the schedule that I'm on, I'm supposed to stop eating at 8 at night, and beer counts. So I can't stop drinking the beer after 8, and then throws off the whole scheme.
Holy cow! I don't know if I could take the beer out of the old.
I know it's tough, right?
It's tough. I live right by a brewery too, and I got a mug club membership, so it's like, come on, I made an investment,
We hang our hat. The office is literally right next to one of my favorite breweries. So,
are you looking at it all day? You just staring at it? It's right over there.
It's so I don't have to say it, but I know it's there, so it's in my mind's eye at all times. And then leaving, the thing is, you see it right when you walk out the door. So it's like there's a choice: do I go get beer to take and fill up a growler? Oh, I happen to bring a growler. I have to fill it up.
Right. If you've got the growler here, this is the time to do it. Wow, exactly. That's hilarious. That's awesome. All right, well, I think we're sounding good. Let's just jump right into it. So why don't you tell my listeners what you are currently raising money for and what platform you're on?
Okay, so we have a campaign on Wefunder.com for my company, TBJ Gourmet, and TBJ Gourmet is a specialty food company. Me and my partner came up with the most amazing product ever, bacon jam. Yes, spreadable bacon. We have some other items as well, but that's our claim to fame. That's our trend-setting, award-winning item, and we're looking to expand the company in the next few years, and so we're raising some money.
Cool. So for people out there, like, what is Wefunder? What type of campaign is it? Like what's going on behind the scenes for the people that don't know?
So Wefunder is a regulation, so it's a crowdfunding site, but unlike the other crowdfunding platforms that you may have heard of, like Kickstarter, where we actually started, or GoFundMe or things like that, you actually sell equity in the company. So it sort of enables everyone from a big time investor down to Joe Schmo, or in our case, friends and family and fans of the brand, to become a stakeholder in the company, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how long have you been working at this company? What's the track record been like?
So we founded the company. My partner and I founded it in 2013, towards the end of the year. So it's been about, it'll be 6 years at the end of this year.
Wow, cool. And what was like that first year like? Like how did this thing get off the ground? What was some of those first early steps as you were kind of growing the company?
So it went from idea to reality pretty quick. My partner had made a bacon jam for his Eagles tailgate buddies in his home brew club. They all said it was great, brought it into my restaurant, and I was making it there. My customers thought it was great. So we put it on Kickstarter. So we raised some funds, pre-sold a bunch of product, and then built a little website. And we did pretty well right off the bat. And we scraped up some cash and started going and selling this stuff at farmers market, beer festivals, bacon festivals, and it culminated in a big Christmas market in Philadelphia. And, we were making so much that I was cooking all night till sunrise, and then bringing stuff down to the booth and selling it while it was still hot, in the package. Like we were actually using it to warm the little like pop-up cabin that we were in. And when the dust settled from that, we said, it seems like we have more than just a side business. So we started a company.
That's awesome. That's really great. So, you mentioned cooking and making this sort of stuff. What is your background? Like, how did you get into this? Were you always were you a chef, or what was your background stuff?
So I worked in restaurants since I was 15. So bussing tables, waiting tables, bartending. And I got in the back of the house a little bit in college. And after school, I started a small catering business that I thought was going to be passive income with me and a buddy. And that snowballed into me owning 2 restaurants, by the time I was, 27.
Wow.
And I just, was doing everything, wearing all the hats there. Don't really consider myself, a chef. I'm not classically trained. But I was cooking, love the interaction with my customers, love watching people eat, good food,
Right.
and getting that satisfaction and that gratification. So I just started working in a restaurant one day and never left, even though, I went to school for completely other things. And it actually was similar with my business partner. He was a software engineer, but also like a home brewer and a foodie.
Right.
And we sort of, fell into this. So neither of us had CPG, consumer packaged good background, but I'm certainly passionate about food.
Yeah. That's the power of Google, right? You can figure out a lot. You just got to search.
Yeah, you just got to search and
Try it out.
Try it out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So, what has been sort of the ups and downs for your business over the last 3 or 4 years? I mean, are you in retail? Are you trying to expand to other countries? What's kind of been going on behind the scenes?
So the big ups and downs are sort of like getting to a plateau, and then realizing that there's like a whole other level. And this happened to us several times. So like we get to this point where we're just killing at these events, and like we get really good at making product and booking good events where we can go sell direct to the consumer. We get our sales pitch down, like we're really feeling the group. And we're like, oh, let's start selling to businesses. Let's start doing B2B. Let's get into retail. Then we realize like you're selling twice as much for the same amount of money because you're cutting your margin.
Right.
And then we're like, well, we got to increase volume. So we go into distribution. Now the same thing just happened again. We're selling 3 times as much as we originally were to make the same amount of money. So you keep hitting these different levels, and then eventually you get to a point where we're at now, where you realize that most people that are at your level, or that your counterparts that we're interacting with on a daily basis, have been in the consumer packaged good business for 20, 30 years, right?
Right.
And we're just trying to figure it out. So what we realize is, we want to raise some capital, be able to comfortably hire some new folks that have a little bit more experience, and have frankly a Rolodex to kick down some doors. We've done a great job so far. Most of our businesses come to us. We haven't gone out and had to do too much sales and marketing. We want to change that. But the big ups and downs are, how do you grow, having never been in this sector before, or this channel before,
right,
and not knowing what the next level is and planning for that. But we've been fortunate to have sidestepped a lot of pitfalls and have a good product that people want. So
yeah, that's cool. So for a product like this, what's the thing that like keeps you up at night? I mean, is it continuing to keep product going? Is it always around funding? Is it just meeting demand from people at these trade shows, scaling up? What keeps you up at night?
No, it's not. So we're very fortunate to have a great supply chain and good partners, and from production to actual ingredient. So that's not it. It really is like figuring out who the next piece in the puzzle is. Because right now we're in like 1,000, we're in over 1,000 specialty gourmet stores. These are independents who pride themselves on curating really bespoke products. And then we're in 4,500 Walmarts. Like, we didn't say no to that business. So what keeps me up at night is like managing happiness for all these people, and then filling in the gaps. So we believe that the bacon jam should be on the shelf of every supermarket. It doesn't matter if it's a high-end supermarket or a low-end supermarket. Bacon is a gourmet product, but it's still bacon.
Right.
Everybody loves bacon. So and then the other part is like, can we make the next awesome thing? Like, can we do this again? Once we get this to the revenue where we want it, where we think the total market share for bacon jam is can we come up with the next thing? I don't know that we have to, because we've already, we have something that's amazing. We do have other products, but some of them are a little more tried and true. But it's, can you have a second hit? Or are you a one-hit wonder? Fortunately for us, I think with our one hit, we could take the company pretty far.
Yeah, that's cool. And where are you guys located as a home base?
So we're right outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Okay. So. And what's like the incubator or the startup community like around there? Is there a lot of support? Is there mentors that you're a part of?
Absolutely.
Like, what kind of community are you a part of?
So we're very fortunate. Philly's a great food scene and a great entrepreneur scene as well. I was actually just researching for a separate product that the first packaged mayo was made in Philadelphia. Like, so we're at like the forefront of awesome condiments, things that are now staples, obviously, but as far as the incubator and entrepreneur scene, we started when we outgrew my restaurant, the Stovetop, we moved to an incubator in West Philly called the Enterprise Center, where a lot of small food companies start. We're part of the SCORE small business community. That's just the mentors that from all different sectors too, which is cool. You go and meet with these guys and it's assigned a mentor or two in our case. And they might not be from the same world. You can just bounce your ideas off and just have someone give you a sanity check.
Right.
We're part of different trade associations, but as far as locally in Philly, it's really SCORE, the food export program, and then just the food scene around here.
Yeah. I think the food scene probably is huge. I mean, are you in a lot of restaurants carrying it and anything like that? Or do you try to get into those channels too?
Absolutely. So we're at about 1,000 restaurants. I am sad to say we do a little bit better in the Midwest than we do in Philly. I think a lot of people here like to make products on their own, even if it's something complex like a sauce, like a bacon jam that takes 4 hours to make. But we have some really good restaurant customers in the area, and it has we do well on the shelves and in restaurants. But yeah, it took a little while to get it adopted. I think originally people were like, oh man, we're already known for cheesesteaks and cheese whiz and scrapple and pork roll, and we're going to do another thing that's like over the top gluttonous, but it's now gone on. Especially any place that has a burger now, you'll see bacon jam in the
area. Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. And what is sort of like a go-to-market strategy in terms of when you're a smaller team, when you're a smaller startup, what kind of things are you doing behind the scenes to make sure that you can get to these next levels and, get into another 1,000 restaurants or, or 1,000 new grocery stores or whatever it might be? What do you guys kind of sit back on and go, this is where we want to focus. This is where we think the best way to get our product out is?
So in my company, we have what we call the shiny ball problem. If we see it looks good, we run after it and we go for it. Most people that are starting a food brand or any CPG brand are usually going to conquer a geographic territory, own it, and then expand either to the next one that makes the most sense or the one that's right next door. We didn't do that because we started online. We were taking B2B orders everywhere. So we're national. We're distributed nationally in food service and in retail with a few strong points here and there. So what we've realized is that we do need to sort of step back. And that's when I sort of was like, we don't do that as great in Philly as I want to. We do well, but it's our home territory and we don't own it yet.
Right.
Whereas there are some areas, some markets that we do own. And we're sort of stepping back and look at that. What we've been doing is partnering with brokers. We call them outside sales reps or whatever, but in the food business, they're brokers. So people that represent a few different brands. We try to find guys and gals that have brands and products that align with us in both food service and in retail. And those are two totally separate channels that we're trying to operate in. So we had this conversation a lot: is where should we put our focus? And the answer is, what's the last email that came in? Because people want it, right? And if we don't make it, someone else is gonna do it themselves, or they're gonna find someone else to figure it out.
Yeah, well, that's I think two things popped in my head. One is, how do you sort of trademark this food product? How do you own this space as a brand and say we are Bacon Jam? We are this. If you're eating Bacon Jam, it's us, right? How do you own that as a startup company?
So with food, unless you came up with a new piece of machinery to make something, there's not really a way to patent anything, as you probably know. So that's why everyone has secret recipes, and everything's a secret recipe. So our recipe sensibly is on the package. Anyone can make bacon jam, but many restaurants make their own. Many were making it before we made it. Now there's other people that have sort of mimicked us in the space in the package bacon jam as well. So what do? We trademark our brand and our mark. We have a few different brands. We do some private label business. We try to own the space as much as possible. But the reality is, we're going to continue to make the best bacon jam in the market, the way that chefs make it, and we're going to come to market at the best possible price for the consumer. So we're going to be best in class. We're going to be first mover. We're going to continue to use the best ingredients, and we're going to not cut corners on processing, which we see a lot of our competitors doing, or they're not making bad products, they're just making it in a way that's different than what you would expect at a restaurant. So either less bacon or no bacon. So we're going to continue to make the best one out there.
That's cool.
And to offer a good variety and a good value.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you guys just had a pretty big win, didn't you, with QVC? Didn't I see something about that? What was that? That was a big win not too long ago, right?
Yeah, we've had a few. We've had a nice little run so far. We've sold out at QVC the last few times we went on, and it's just a great response. QVC is a great way to prove a concept for a product that there's national interest for it. Something, especially with food, where you can't taste it, right? So you're saying, like, here's this new thing, bacon jam, that you might have not heard of, because only 30% of Americans have even heard of it. And we want you to buy it without trying it. So, like, trust me. And it's not, we're selling these 2 big jars on there. So it's like $30 spend. And it's awesome. But the hosts at QVC are great. The stylists are great. So they make a nice spread that's appetizing, but really it's about the consumer wanting the product. And for us, that's the beauty of that program and that platform, is we can, like, really prove to ourselves and other buyers that we have something that people want. And then you get reviews on QVC. We were actually nominated for best condiment. So
that's great.
So we can get and there's nothing like going back to the green room and having everybody be like, whoa, you sold out, this is awesome. And you see guys from pretty big companies, and in some cases, the principals of those companies are there that representing their brand. Like, there's some big name chefs and companies that go on there, and they're like giving you a high five. I won't mention any names, but you get a high five from some guy that you've been watching on TV for like 10, 15 years. And he's like, well, you sold out, man. Like, that feels really good. So.
Yeah. Well, you know what's intriguing? It just popped in my brain here. Is just the wide spectrum of an audience. Then, if you've done a Kickstarter and you proved it there, which is typically a little bit of a younger audience, probably 45 and under. And to me, QVC probably skews a little bit older, probably
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, maybe 50 plus. I don't know, somewhere around there.
I don't have all the demographics, but it's
somewhere in that
Kickstarter.
But yeah, definitely different audiences. I mean, QVC.
Oh yeah.
To Kickstarter. I mean, that tells you a ton that this product, it's a wide open market. It isn't like, only millennials like it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the way we approach different segments of the market, different demographics, changes slightly, but essentially what we're offering is something that's gourmet and gluttonous and bacon. And, there's some health benefits. It's better for you because there's no nitrates in it. We use antibiotic-free bacon, humanely raised, vegetarian fed, all this awesome stuff. It's also upcycled, which is a big thing that we're focusing on in the future, and with bacon jam. So just really hammering down the supply chain to make sure that we're sort of tackling food waste and making the best possible use of different ingredients that are either typically lost or not used in the supply chain.
Right.
So, in that regard, we have something for everyone that they're looking for, but what it boils down to mainly is we make good quality products that make somebody's life a lot easier, whether they're a professional chef or a home cook. We're just going to make your life easier and put smiles on people's faces that you're serving. And that's what I love the most about the food business, was watching people smile when they ate something that I made. And I want to offer that to people. And bacon's a great way to do that.
Yeah. I think everybody's always smiling with bacon's around.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you keep up with quality control? I mean, there's so many, it feels like there's a lot of moving parts around it. How do you stay on top of that to where, a bad batch isn't getting, isn't sliding out somehow and ending in the Midwest? How do you control that? How do you stay on top of that sort of stuff?
So you develop plans and put, standard operating procedures and what's called HACCP plans. So what you're doing is hazardous critical control points for the most part. Also, for us, it's key to have very trusted suppliers. We only contract with bacon suppliers who are locally or mostly local, that we can go and see their plant, see their entire from nuts to bolt. And with our main product, the bacon jam, bacon's the thing that we're worried about most as far as quality control, right? So we tour facilities, we tour farms, and then in our own facility, we use the third party audits. And then, sometimes you get a case gets bumped and the lid pops off and something like that happens, you take care of it with the consumer. But as far as like bad batches going out, that's all controlled. In the cooking facility, we hold our products for 10 days to do testing on them, because it is a USDA certified product, which means it's a meat. So there are hazards. So we just mitigate those risks. And we taste things. That's what it comes down to after testing and everything is, make sure it's safe, but then you taste it and it's not right. You figure out what's wrong with it. And then you take that and you take it to a backyard barbecue for a few years, that batch. But you don't let it go. You don't let it get out there, and you want to protect your brand.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and, so how did you end up in this whole, scheme of things, start thinking about equity crowdfunding and starting to think about, I think this is a vehicle because again, equity crowdfunding is very new.
Yep.
It is the Wild West when it comes to crowdfunding. It's, you're going after unaccredited investors mostly.
Yep.
How did, was this just a random email that rolled in one day, or was there a thought of like, this is a good way for us to maybe possibly raise some cash?
There's a series of emails. So first we got bombarded by 3 different VC, like real VC companies, that said we're interested in investing. And I'm like, my eyes lit up. I'm like, oh, we're someone's gonna take half my company, but I'll be rich. So this will be cool. And then they all realized that we were way smaller than they thought. Like we punch way above our weight on social media, and like we had explosive growth. So these guys were like, whoa, I thought, and but we got in our head like, what would we do if we had the capital? At the same time, we got an email from a equity crowdfunding site, and we started shopping around. We settled on Wefunder, and what really sold us on that platform, other than that it was available to us versus VC, which we would have come in we would have to give up too much at our current level, was that what appealed to us was that we're going to offer this to non-accredited investors, which means, and some of our people that buy from us are accredited, but we can sell equity to stores, specialty gourmet stores that have been our customers for years, 5+ years now. They're always worried about things like, are we going to go to Walmart, which we did, or are we going to go to the grocery store down the street? Are they not going to make a new product just for us, which we have, but they're still worried about these things. Now they can buy in. If they help us get successful by selling our products and promoting our products, and we sell out one day, they're on the ride. Right. The sales reps from our distributors, the fans of the company, these are all people that have been following us on social media and buying our products for years or selling them for us, our brokers. They can all now have the opportunity to buy in. And for me, right now we're up to like 180 investors. It's 180 brand ambassadors I had out on the street, right? That are not just, my friends, my family, who've been super supportive, Bruce's friends and family, but these people are now like bought in. They're in for real. More than just because they care about us, and more than just because they sell our products and they want to make whatever their margin at the store is. They're in because like they're a part of the company, and that to me is super powerful.
Yeah, totally. What were some of the to-do items that you had to do before you got on Wefunder? What was some of the back end paperwork, just all the little stuff that you might have had to have done?
There were certainly some hoops. So 2 years financials, from a generally accepted accounting principle standpoint. So to format that, and we had to hire an accountant, you have to get your offering put together by a attorney, unless you're an attorney yourself, which I'm not, just a cook. And then, so it's basically the accounting, the documentation, but also like sort of going back and figuring out what our story is, how we want to position it, and then just getting all of the potential investors like in buckets and getting ready to actually tell our story to them.
Right.
Which obviously you can get some help doing that. You can get some help doing all those pieces, but it was a big undertaking.
Yeah. I know it is. It takes a lot to get kind of everything all in order, and when you guys are approaching this, what is sort of the temperature around the company in terms of like expectations on it, and what are the internal conversations and what are people asking? Again, because it's probably new for everybody around, right? So
absolutely.
What's a Tuesday afternoon look like when people are asking questions and stuff?
So it ranged from me being like, we're going to raise $1 million in a month, to my partner being like, no one's going to invest in this, to an employee being like, I have $5,000 I want to put in the company, to like, it's like all over the place because you don't know what it's going to be. And like, we have one part-time person that like was looking at us like, is this a scam or something? Like, what do you mean? Like, you're gonna, we're not like hard selling anyone, but like they're just hearing like what it is and like our own insecurities about like putting it out there. Like, we're gonna put our financials out that anyone can see.
Right.
And which, maybe there's something in there that a competitor can like glean and, take an advantage. I don't know. So there's like, you go through all these like cycles of doubt and hope. And then you figure out like, is it good? We weighed the pros and the cons, and then you pull the trigger and do it.
Yeah.
But there's definitely an excitement, like on launch day when the first, like, we're just like slamming it. We're like watching the ticker go up, and then it slowed down a little bit, but it's very exciting. It was very reminiscent of our Kickstarter campaign. We had a rule every time we got a Kickstarter backer that we'd have to go high five. So we were like leaving our houses to go high five in like parking lots throughout the campaign. Eventually we got to cancel the rule because it got out of hand. But this was like that too, where we're like shooting a text like, oh, do you know that guy that do you know Dean, or do you know Pete? Like, and like, no, I don't know. I mean, it must be somebody like from outside our like our like, circle, our network.
Yeah.
And like, that was exciting. Or like seeing someone who like you knew from back in the day and they come in for like $5,000. You're like, holy crap. Like, I didn't know that guy had money, first of all. Second of all, I didn't know that like he likes me, or like, maybe he doesn't like me and he just wants to join the company to like
to destroy it, maybe.
To like, you're worried like, you start thinking, I don't know, we're pretty hopeful, but also pretty
that's funny.
Paranoid too.
What kind of, in general, what has been like the majority of feedback when it comes from an investor, or what's an investor question that kind of always sort of pops up that you've heard and you're always trying to answer it the right way?
They're all over the board. From some guys coming in with questions where I had to like spend an hour just looking up terms, like what's your GAWRC, like growth for the category, and I'm like having to research like what that is, and like what, not just what the term is, but then like what the truth of to answer the question is. And then we get just silly questions like, is there real bacon in it? Like product questions. So, you get questions from people that have like dove into it and seen some potential risks, which, we disclose, but some people, there's a lot of savvy investors out there that'll ask deeper questions. And that actually was helpful for us to sort of, learn more about ourselves, about our company, and do our SWOT analysis a little bit better, to see what some of those weaknesses are. And then other people, they're coming in with questions that are basically that they want to invest, they're fans of the brand, but they're basically consumers, and they're going to ask consumer type questions. And then we look at them as a more bought in consumer. So, the big one is, what are you going to do? How am I going to make money?
Right.
I just got asked that question last night, and I'm like, we make money when we make money. And if we become super profitable, you'll make your return. If we sell the company, you exit with us. Somebody comes in and wants to take half the company and just keep the partners, you'll get a payday. There's all different options, and they want to know what our goals are, and our goals are to get to a certain level and then figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
And what is what did you guys possibly sort of look at as like the biggest risk to do this? Like that, maybe would keep you off the fence of doing an equity campaign? Like, was there something that you were looking at, you're like, maybe like, I don't want to put my financials out there, but was there something along those lines that you were like, that really kind of, you guys were really, really hesitant about, or maybe there wasn't?
No, there certainly was. So the big one was just looking foolish. Like, you do this thing and you don't raise any money, right? Like, you're just like, you have a goal and you raise like $1,000.
Right.
Yeah, nobody likes this. Nobody likes this. But like we know people like the product, but then it's like, do they like us? Because they're not investing in just a product; they're investing in the management team. And so that we realized right away after doing our pre-launch that was the case. So that felt great. So that, but the other thing is we weren't really worried about putting the financials out there really. I mean, it's like sort of same reason, like for being insecure, people aren't going to like it. But, you know, is crowdfunding a real thing? Are people going to think it's a scam? You know, is you're going to do some sort of brand damage? But you realize that it's not the case because you're laying it all out there. So, you know, you tell them 100 times in the campaign or in the, you know, I did a webinar that like, I can't predict the future and I don't know what's going to happen. So like, don't do this unless you got some funny money to play with and you want to go along for the ride with us and you really believe in us. So, you know, I think that was it really. Just but you sort of like, if you're really afraid of those things, like we sat down, we're just like, well, then why are we in business? Like, if we don't believe in ourselves, like, why are we going to continue to do this? So instead of going and get real jobs. You know?
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, so how long do you have left in the campaign? I mean, I think you've got what, 2 more weeks or so? How much longer do you have in the campaign?
Yeah. So we start winding down on August 16th.
Okay.
So it's, I don't even know what day it is, but
yeah. So yeah, this will probably come out with they'll have about, week from now, this will come out.
So, so we've got, you know, probably 2 weeks left and, you know, we crushed our goal, by like 15%. And, we, you know, are open to more. We actually, what's been interesting is we've had a lot of outside investors reach out or more VC that said, hey, we noticed this, you look good, you know, keep us in the loop for in the future. So it's interesting to see that, like how it's making us think about how we run our business and what our long-term goals are. Right.
And if somebody wants to get involved, what do they need to do? How does that work?
So they go to wefunder.com/TBJ Gourmet.
Okay.
You look at our deck, you know, just take a look and see, you know, why we think we are the valuation we're at, what the risks are. And then you can click a button that says invest as little as $100. And if you go higher than a certain amount, they ask for some background information to see if you're accredited. But I don't know all the details about that. And at the very least, you can go on and follow us and see, you know, get campaign updates for the ones that are public. You won't get the private investor updates, but it's wefunder.com/TBJ Gourmet.
That's great. And where do you, I mean, if you had to sort of predict the future, kind of where do you see the company in 5 years? Where do you see it? Like what is something that in your mind you're like, I'm pushing us to get here, you know?
So right now in the retail space, so in grocery stores, we're at 15% market penetration. We're in 15% of the total number of stores that we think Bacon Jam should be in say 5 years or 3 years.
5 years. What's going on in 5 years?
5 years. We need to be in 75% of those stores, at least, and we want to be in a lot more restaurants. So we're in 1,000 restaurants right now. We're talking like in the 5 figures of numbers of restaurant menus that we're on. We want to take out any restaurant that has more than one location that's making their own Bacon Jam and say, we're going to do that for you. We're going to save you time. We're going to save you money. And then that's just in the Bacon Jam sphere. So we want to have near full market penetration, and we want to have a few new products out as well. So cool. we're looking at 10 million in revenue is what our goal is for 5 years.
That's cool.
Annual revenue.
So and then after this campaign closes and all the money clears and drops and all that sort of stuff happens behind the scenes, what does that allow you to do? What starts happening? I mean, are you driving a Ferrari behind the scenes, or are you still sitting, you at that same desk? I mean, what starts to happen for you guys?
So my wife just asked me, she's like, well, you're going to get a raise, right? You're going to give yourself a raise when you get the money. I said, no, I'm probably going to cut my pay a little bit and we're going to have to hire some people. So we're looking at hiring at least one VP of sales for one of the two channels for food service or retail. We're looking at taking some of the funds to do marketing and travel to different regions to get ourselves into the supermarkets. There is another opportunity that came up during the campaign for some retooling of equipment that we have that could get us into a packaging that we think could drastically boost sales. So we have to determine, which do we do first? Depends how we close out the campaign, if we can do both at the same time.
Yeah.
So, we're somewhat limited in what packaging we can put our products into, which then limits where we go and the price points we can be on the shelves at. So with a little bit of retooling, we could do that. So basically sales, marketing, and all the things that you want to hear as an investor. We're not increasing, unfortunately, my payroll.
You have to deal with that battle at home, then it sounds like. That's at home.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
I got a 2.5-year-old. I don't think he's about ready for his first business. He can do a little lemonade stand out front to bring some drink, come into the house.
Yeah, well, bacon lemonade or something, maybe. I don't know.
Whoa. I'll take all our bacon.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to drink it though. I don't know. Maybe I'm drinking some pea pod protein thing right now. The wife's making me drink for some protein. I don't know.
I'm familiar with this.
Yeah.
We've got it's not a faux protein, but we have a new item that that's going to be coming out soon. I think it's going to be pretty cool. I can't speak. Waiting on a patent for it, but it's in the realm of bacon, but it's also super awesome. And we don't spend too much time on R&D. We have a lot of help. That's another community I should mention. Drexel Food Innovation Labs, Drexel University, as far as new product development, they're great. Our in-house team's great too, but it's good to have outside people on that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Mike, I appreciate you taking time out of your day. I mean, you got a busy schedule here, which you're in the middle of an equity raise here. I encourage everybody to go check it out. I know the product inside and out. I'm very familiar with it, but and I recommend everybody going over to Wefunder right now. If you're thinking about maybe investing, this would be a phenomenal product too. There it is right there. Yeah, uncured bacon jam.
Sweet spreadable bacon.
Very tasty. I had a burger last night. They didn't have it. They didn't have the bacon jam, but I went to a restaurant. We gotta get you there.
Absolutely. Send me the name and number.
Will do. Well, I appreciate it, Mike. So everybody, make sure you guys go check this out. Mike, again, thanks so much for your time, and all right, good luck on the rest of the campaign.
Thank you. Thanks for all your help.